The story, the mystery continues. I want you to just take a moment and think about this. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. When I cover these stories night in and night out, there are certain stories that really bother me, and they are the ones where people victimize children and seniors, the people in our society who we should be protecting and helping. And when they become the victims of a crime, it gets under my skin. And our law takes that into consideration. When you victimize someone who is a child or someone who is a senior like Nancy, the penalties are more severe. That's an aggravating factor. So our system of justice recognizes that. 84 years old. You should be enjoying every single moment that you have because you've lived this life. You've learned so much. People should be speaking to you to learn about things that you've experienced. You should enjoy your family, and you should just enjoy each and every moment. And for someone to take this nice 84-year-old woman, has everyone angry, to say the least. This is just like when we see children attacked. These are the most vulnerable in society. Now, the thing about Nancy, and the reason that there's a big spotlight on this, obviously, is she has a celebrity daughter, Savannah, who used to work. I used to work with Savannah at Court TV. She went on, became and is currently the host of the Today Show, right? She's at the top of the food chain in the news business. And obviously that puts more of a spotlight on this. But the question is, does it have anything else to do with what happened here? Is there any connection, or is this just a coincidence that the victim of this abduction has a daughter who is extremely famous? Otherwise, why on earth would anyone go into a house in the middle of the night and grab an 84-year-old woman? Why would you do that? Under what circumstances, what purpose? Is it some sort of a vendetta? Or is it a kidnapping? Is it a kidnapping for ransom? Well, there's an alleged ransom note that is now circulating in all of this. A note that was sent to the media from someone somewhere. So it's part of the story now. And for many people, that would maybe answer the question, why on earth someone would abduct this 84-year-old woman? Because she has a very famous daughter who obviously has money. And you're holding her to demand money, right? We've seen this movie a million times, but I've never seen it with an 84-year-old woman who needs her medication, an 84-year-old woman with a pacemaker. So the question, the sheriff spoke today. These guys are working, and women are working long, long hours on this case. Trust me, they are. But he's taking the time to answer questions to let the public know, because he's also asking for the public's help. But take a listen to him when he's asked about whether or not any demands have been made.
Have any demands been made by kidnappers?
We have all kinds of investigative leads we're working on.
Okay, quickly, you saw him he obviously doesn't want to give up specifics, right? He'll give some information, but not all information, but kind of sweep that question. But there was another question about a ransom note.
You were asked if there was any ransom, and you didn't say no. You said we're following all leads. Does that mean a ransom has come in?
We're following all leads we have. That's all I can tell you. We've got hundreds of leads, and it's from you that produce those leads by telling people we need help, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm not going to get into all that.
Again, not denying it, right? So we're getting leads, right? Because it's high profile, everyone knows about it. You get more leads, you get some bad leads, but you may end up getting some good leads. Attention in a case like this is always good for law enforcement and the family trying to find their loved one. Now let's get to the ransom note, because there is a ransom note. Who wrote it? I don't know, but it's been sent to the media, including our parent company, Scripps News, specifically our affiliate in Tucson, Scripps News Tucson. Take a look. Scripps News Tucson received a ransom note referencing Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mother. It makes a specific demand for several $1 million in Bitcoin by Thursday, and threatens to kill her if payment is not received by Monday. Here's the key. It also makes specific reference to 2 pieces of evidence at the crime scene, which we cannot authenticate as legitimate. KGUN, that's the affiliate in Scripps in Tucson, has forwarded the full contents of the note to investigators and authorities. The note is real. We just don't know if it's legitimate. So it's been sent to Scripps News in Tucson. We know at a minimum TMZ also received this note. So it's been sent to a bunch of places. Who sent it? Is this the answer to the question? Take a listen now to the sheriff. Oh, this is what the sheriff said. This is the statement that the sheriff made afterwards about this. We are aware of reports circulating about possible ransom notes regarding the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. We are taking all tips and leads very seriously. Anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives, who are coordinating with the FBI. So that's where we are right now. That is like the big headline. There is a ransom note. We know there's a ransom note because our parent company was sent one of these ransom notes. Where else they were sent? Were they sent to the family? Were they sent to the sheriff? Not sure. They're not saying. But the bottom line, a note was sent, so there is a ransom note. Is it legitimate? Where is it coming from? How do you handle this at this point? Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney, former head New Jersey County prosecutor Bob Bianchi is with us, along with criminal defense attorney Sydney Rushing, and finally, national parenting and family relationship expert Dr. Sue Kornblut. Welcome to everyone. Bob, reaction here. Ransom note being sent out to the media. We don't know where else it's been sent, if it was sent to the family, to the sheriff, etc. What are your thoughts right now about this note?
Brings us back to the Riso case in New Jersey, Vinny. You may remember a number of years ago with the Exxon CEO. Bad. This is not a good thing. I don't like the idea of the note that they're referencing things at the crime scene. That is, in my opinion, the person trying to say we are not a black ops situation or somebody trying to take advantage. We're the real deal. This is the person that we have, and here's our signature and our calling card. So that's kind of frightening. Right now, I can just tell you from the prosecutorial standpoint and investigative standpoint, what's happening right now is going to be making sure you can deal with information management. So if you can imagine, there are these tips coming in from all over the place. Each one has to be run down, and you have to shuck the wheat from the chaff because there's going to be a lot of maniacs too. You said it's good there's public attention to it. Yeah, it's also bad because a lot of people are going to be calling in, maybe with good intentions, maybe with not, in order to get some notoriety. So there's going to be a lot of manpower and woman power that's going to go into this. And then the electronics and all the kind of investigation happening here, I could just tell you from having been involved in stuff like this, not of the magnitude of the celebrity that we have here is that this is really daunting and like a needle in a haystack kind of situation if these people did this with any level of skill.
Sydney, if in fact this is an abduction, a kidnapping for ransom, it seems not to be random, obviously. You'd have to know that it's Savannah's mom. You'd have to know that Savannah's mom is living alone and is very vulnerable. I mean, at a minimum here. And I'm wondering,
Right.
what is your gut telling you tonight as we get wind of this ransom note?
So it's telling me, like you said, I don't think that this is random in any way, because again, they knew the address, they knew the things, they knew to take off her Apple Watch, which of course we know is connected to her pacemaker, and that's how they said that they kind of are assuming that at 2 a.m. Sunday is the last time, you know, she was connected to it, and that's when they took her from the home. And just to know all of these things and to know that she's someone that they could take and potentially, you know, with this ransom note, obviously this is a money grab, and them taking it to the news is you know, it's a loud statement to be made. And that's why the sheriff is also keeping a little bit quiet about what information they have, what they have at the scene, because obviously this ransom note is labeling two very specific things that have to do with the crime scene. So it's kind of like, hey, we're legitimate here. But my gut is telling me that this is someone that she knows or should know. I also think that there's going to be some tech that they're going to hopefully be able to go in and get some more clues about who was she contacting anyone that day? Was anyone reaching out? Was she expecting somebody? So that way maybe they have like more leads like that. Obviously, we know they're doing everything they can, but tech can take us really far away these days.
Dr. Sue Kornbluth, she's 84 years old. That's, to me, that's the fact throughout all this, and obviously has some physical limitations. Early on, the sheriff was talking about medications that she needed as well. The one thing about Nancy Guthrie, though, is that she's sharp as a tack. She is smart. She knows what's going on. She's aware of everything. So if she's being taken, she's aware that she's being taken. This is scary stuff. This is bold, if in fact this is what is happening here. Does your gut tell you that this ransom note may be legit?
I mean, Vinny, I do think the ransom note could be legit for several reasons. One, I think it's important because it shows that, you know, they know these details, right? So if they know these details, they probably have her somewhere. My guess from the beginning, though, was that this is definitely connected to her daughter, Savannah. And I think that possibly this could be a crazed fan that was targeting Savannah and wants to get back at her in some way, saw the mother on television with her, saw her as a target, and went after her to get some money. That is what I think is going on here in terms of her mother and the way that she's feeling right now. And, you know, I pray that she is still alive, which I do believe she is at this time. She is filled with panic and fear and, you know, all kinds of things going through her mind. And at the age that she is, you can be as tough as you want, but, you know, your mind and your body are connected to one another, and you experience pain and panic and fear very different than you do if you are younger.
Bob, let me follow up on what you said before about the Exxon case. What happened there? How was that handled?
Well, it was a massive investigation, as you can imagine. And I think that the thing that's relevant is, and I think to this particular case, is, I hate to say this, but we're just being real here. I mean, one of the things the investigators had to deal with that they did in the Riso case is the victim alive? Is there, even if you pay the ransom, is the bad guy or woman going to either kill them, or are they already dead? In the Riso case, in which case it was a murder case, the person was dead. But back then, Vinny, you had a lot more of an opportunity and ability to be able to run leads down. And I'm not saying that there's not going to be here, but one of the questions they're going to be having, let's think about it, should we pay the ransom? The question becomes whether or not there's a person that's going to be alive, and whether the person that's abducted her is going to take the chance that by giving her back over, they've created even additional evidence that could identify them. This is a really Hobson choice, especially for somebody who's got the medical condition, because we don't even know she's alive right now. I'm sorry to say it. I'm just being real here. That's what's going on.
And I appreciate that, and I think everyone understands that. I mean, this is such an unusual case because the victim is 84 to begin with, and that's what sets it apart. Like, how on earth can you manage to hold on to her? What, for, they say, given a deadline of Monday? That's over a week. Does she have the medication? Are they taking care of her? Sydney, do you think, as we sit here tonight, that there's a chance that a ransom could be paid and that somehow, some way, she could come home? Are you seeing a realistic chance of that? I think that everyone obviously is hoping for that, but what are you thinking?
Right. So, I mean, I think that there's always the chance for that. Sometimes, we see that, when the ransom is paid, it, the opposite, comes through where they bring the person, they bring them home. But I don't know how likely it is, because once they return her, right, this isn't just a hands-off thing. Now she, as they've said, she was very sound mind. She's very smart. She's quick-witted. She's going to have the information that's going to come back and bite them in the tail. So, it's one of those situations where, are they actually going to, hold up their end of the deal with, if the ransom is paid, are they going to give her back? And is she available to give back? Because I agree that, if they may want to get the ransom and then just tie up those loose ends so it doesn't come back and bite them.